Okay, so we have completed with the second lesson. We'll be starting with third lesson today, that is CPU architecture. What does CPU stands for? Central Processing Unit. That is the main component of your computer which performs all the operation, or the internal parts of those CPU performs all the major operations of your computer. So what is the architecture, or what all different processors we have, and what architecture that processor has, that we'll be seeing in this chapter. Okay. So CPU, what does that mean? A CPU is a digital computer that is responsible for execution of the instruction. So whatever instructions or whatever program a user gives as an input for executing or for giving the output, who executes those programs and who executes those instructions and gives you the output, it is a CPU who performs that. So once I give the input through a keyboard, where does that input goes? It goes to the computer, that is CPU. CPU will operate, execute that in particular instructions one by one. It will generate the output and then display the output on the screen to the user. It includes number of registers. So we have seen the CPU has ALU inside it, it has registers inside it, and it has control unit also inside it. So there are multiple registers which has different functions, and every CPU architecture has those registers. Which are those registers that we'll be seeing when we study any one particular CPU and the architecture of it. So do you know any examples of the processor? We have i3, i5, i7. We had 8085, 8086. What are these? These are nothing but the processors which the system has. And every processor has different registers, and the functions of those registers are also unique to one another. But every processor has certain registers. Okay. And the function of every processor is to execute the instructions which are given by the user to the computer. It, along with that, what does it do is it also performs certain ALU operations. What are those ALU operations? It is arithmetic and logical operations. Whatever addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, logical and, logical or, who is going to do all this? If it is there in the program, it will be done by the ALU part of the CPU. Along with that, it also performs certain shift operations. Now we have seen the algorithm of binary multiplication and division. Did we do some types of shift, that is right shift and left shift? Yes. So who is going to perform, who was actually performing those shift operations? Those were also performed by your CPU. So whenever I perform any right shift, left shift, and if it is there in my program, who is going to do that? It will be done by the CPU of your computer. The processor unit that is combined with the control unit and which supervises all the micro operations are called as CPU. Now, if you remember in the first chapter, we had done a diagram where CPU was divided into different parts. We had ALU, we had control unit, and we had registers. Okay. So what is this CPU? It is nothing but a processing unit which is combined. Processing unit means the ALU part. The ALU part, when it is combined with the control part and when it is supervising all your instructions, we call that entire unit along with CPU and control unit as, along with the processor and control unit as CPU. Okay. Now we have seen this, that there are three major components of the CPU. The first is ALU, arithmetic logic unit, CU, which is the control unit, and the registers, which is used for temporary storage of the data. And like this, we have multiple registers which keeps on changing from one processor to another processor. Okay. Now just a minute, let me show you the diagram. Can you see the diagram? Can you see the diagram?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
Why there's no response? Okay. So if you see the diagram, what do we have is, now as we just saw that there are three major components of your CPU. The first part is your ALU, the second part is your register, and the third part is your control unit. Now what is there inside the ALU? If you see in this diagram, arithmetic and logic unit consists of status flag, it consists of shifter, it consists of complementer, and it consists of arithmetic and Boolean logic. That means whatever arithmetic and logical functions your program has, or if your input by the user, who is going to perform those arithmetic functions? It is this bottom part, arithmetic and Boolean logic. Okay, all those arithmetic and logical operations will be performed by the bottom part, which is arithmetic and Boolean logic. Now, if at all my program or my instructions are some kind of shift instructions, that is something like that, who is going to perform that shift? It will be performed by this shifter of the ALU inside the ALU. Now, what is complement? Now we have seen we perform many a times ones complement and twos complement, converting 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. So who is going to do that? It will be performed by the complementer part of your ALU. Then there is something called as status flag. Now every architecture of a CPU, that is every CPU i3, i4, i5, ये जो भी processor है, every processor has a different status flags. What does the status flag include? They include carry, auxiliary carry, parity, zero, sign bits, all these things. Okay, so we'll be learning the status flag in detail when we go ahead. So for now, just remember that every processor has some or the other status flags. And what are the examples of the status flag? Zero flag, there is one 0 bit which is a part of a status flag, sign bit part of a status flag, carry bit, auxiliary carry, parity, all these are the part of the status flag. How they change and how they set, that we will be studying in the slides ahead. Okay, so all these are the parts of your ALU. Whatever communication your ALU does with the register and whatever communication your ALU does with the control unit is handled by whom? Is handled by the internal CPU bus. Okay, so the function of the CPU bus, internal CPU bus, is to data register to ALU, ALU to register, control unit to ALU, ALU to control unit. Okay. What is the function of this register? To store the data for temporary purpose unless and it is stored in the memory of the computer system. So we have different types of registers depending upon the type of a processor. So we'll be studying what are those different registers in this lesson. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, so we'll be studying what are the different types of registers for particular processor. Then this control unit, every function that your ALU is doing, all is controlled by whom? Will be controlled by the control unit. So can you see this control units are connected, is connected to the register also and is connected to the ALU also. How it is connected? Through these control paths. This control unit will be observing the register of a processor as well as it will be observing the operations of the ALU. Okay, so this is clear. This is the internal structure of a CPU. If you see any CPU, all the CPU will consist of ALU, will consist of register, and will have a control unit also. Clear? So the three parts. So the three parts of your CPU were ALU, which had subcomponents inside it, like status flag, shifter, complementer, and arithmetic and Boolean logic. You had a control unit and you had a register. Who was doing the communication between the ALU and the register? It was done by the internal CPU bus, and the function of the control unit is to observe the operations of ALU as well as to observe the operations of registers with the help of the control path. Okay. Now the processor we will be studying in the syllabus is the processor called as 80386. Now how we have i3, i4, i5, i7. Similarly, in the previous times or in the previous computer, 80386 was a processor which was used. The very first processor which is used or which was used in the computer system was 8085. After that, we started using 8086. Then we started using 80286. Then we started using 80386. Then came 80486. Like this, we have now reached to i5, i6, i4, i5, and i7. Okay. So the very first was 8085. Now, what is happening in each and every processor? 8085 had the configuration which was less. Then the configuration got increased in 8086. Then it got little increased in 80286. फिर थोड़ा increase हुआ 80386. Therefore, there are new versions which are coming. Every version that has come has some or the other new things inside it. Okay, so the processor which we will be learning is 80386 processor. Okay, so I have already told you which are the process out of which we will be learning 80386. Now, what does your 80386 processor has? The entire architecture of a processor is divided into 3 units. Remember this because same thing is there into your microprocessor subject which is there in your 4th semester. Okay, everything is going to be same. So if you study with full concentration now, it will be easy for you in the 4th semester. Okay. So your 808386 processor is divided into 3 units. That means architecture ko kitne parts hai? There are 3 parts. The first part is BIU, which is nothing but the bus interface unit. Okay, BIU is called bus interface unit. Second part is CPU, which is central processing unit. What will the CPU have? The CPU will have internally ALU, it will have control unit, and it will have register. The third part is MMU, which is nothing but the memory management unit. I repeat, 80386 is divided into 3 units. The first unit is BIU, that is bus interface unit. Second is CPU, central processing unit. CPU also has 3 internal components, which are ALU, register, and control unit, which we have already covered. And the last unit is MMU, which is memory management unit. Okay, let us see the first one, the bus interface unit. Now, what is this bus interface unit? As the name says, bus interface unit. What will have? It will have information about the bus. Kiska bus? The bus is of 80386 processor. Now, in the first chapter, we have seen that there are 3 types of buses. You have data bus, have address bus, and you have control bus. And all the 3 together are called as system bus. So let it be any processor, 808 bolo, 386 bolo, i5 bolo, i7 bolo. Every processor has the buses. Which are those buses? It will have a data bus, it will have an address bus, it will have a control bus, and all the 3 together are called as system bus. But farak kya rahega? The size of the data bus. Size of the data bus in 8085 will be different. Size of the data bus in 8086 will be different. Size of the data bus in 80386 will be different. And the size of the data bus in i3, i4, i5 will be different. Okay. So what it is written, it has 32-bit of address bus and data bus. So we know that we have 3 buses, address, data, and control. We also know the function of them. What is a data bus used for? It is used to carry only the data. What is address bus used for? It is used to carry the address where your data is located. And who is going to control these 2 buses is the control bus. Okay. So how many bits of data bus is there inside your 80386? 32 bits. How many bits of address bus is there inside your 386 processor? 32 bits. Whereas in 8085, you have 8-bit of data bus and 16-bit of address bus. In 8086, you have 16 bit of data bus and 20 bit of address bus. No need to remember that. This is just I'm telling you for information. Just remember that 80386 has 32 bits of address bus, 32 bits of data bus. What do you mean by 32 bits? Means what? At a time I can transmit the 32 bit of data. Why at a time I can transmit 32 bit of data? Because utna data bus hai mere paas, तो मैं at a time if my data is of 32 bits, मैं एक ही साथ सारे 32 bits transmit कर सकती हूँ. Why? Because I have that much bit of data bus. How much bit of address can be transmitted in one shot? 32 bit of address can be transmitted in one shot. Okay, so this is how your data bus and address bus operates depending upon what is the size. And what is the size? It is of 32 bits in 80386 microprocessor. Clear? Now, if it is a 32 bit, which means what? I can use it as 8 bit also, I can use it as 16 bit also. Which means agar mera data 8 bits ka hi hai, so even if my data bus is of 32 bits, I can use those 8 bits of entire 32. So it is having a compatibility that it can transmit 8 bit also, it can transmit 16 bit also, and it can transmit 32 bit also. But it cannot transmit 64 together. I have to make use of 32 bit once and then again 32 bit once to transmit a 64 bit. But at one shot, I can transmit 8 bit, 16 bit and 32 bits. Okay. So the point which is written over here, dynamic data bus sizing. What does that dynamic data bus size means? In one shot, I can transmit 16 bits. In one shot, I can transmit 8 bits. And in one shot, I can transmit 32 bits also. But if I want to transmit 64 bits, I have to make use of 2 cycles. In first cycle, first 32 bits. In second cycle, next 32 bits. Okay. Then what does the second point say? An instruction queue of 16 bytes, which never has to wait for an instruction fetch. Now, what does this mean? I have written a program. Program is move a comma b. B comma. What is this program? It has 4 instructions. First two instructions are for move. Third instruction is to add, and fourth instruction is to store the result. Now, when I give this program to a computer, what will happen? A computer has to execute this. Who is going to execute the program? Your CPU will activate its internal components and it will execute the program. But what is this program made up of? It is made up of 4 different instructions. Which are those? First instruction move, second instruction move, third instruction add, fourth instruction store. So each and every instruction is going to be executed. So how are instruction executed? First, the instructions are fetched. Fetched means usko liya jayega. जैसे ही program submit हुआ, so पहले instruction fetch होता है. After the instruction is fetched, the instructions are decoded. Decoded means what is the first instruction? Move a comma b. So what is that? Where I will write mov a comma b. But will my system understand what is mov, what is a, what is b? No. My system will never understand. What will a system do? It will convert this move a comma b into some numbers, which are called as operands and opcode. What is that operand? Move is an operand, a and b is a opcode. जिसमें data है, that part is called as opcode. A और b में data है, therefore it is called as opcode. Move is called as operand. When I say add a comma b, add is a operand, a comma b is opcode. Okay. So what is happening? As soon as a user has given a program to the system, instructions of those programs are first fetched. Then it will be decoded. Instruction decoding होता है. Instruction decoding मतलब it will identify कि इसमें से opcode कौन से है, operand कौन से है. वो operand होने के बाद instructions को execute किया जाता है, and then the result is given to the user. Okay. So once the program is given, what is the cycle of an instruction? First instruction is fetched, instruction is decoded, then instruction is executed. So whenever the instruction is given or whenever a program is given inside the system, where is that program getting added? वो program store किधर हो रहा है? Instruction queue में. ठीक है? Instruction queue बोलते हैं उसको. What do you mean by queue? Where everything is executed in line one after the another. Many a time when you go to the ticket counter, it is written please stand in queue. Stand in queue means एक के पीछे एक खड़े हो जाओ, जब फर्स्ट का टिकट मिलेगा तभी दूसरे को टिकट इशू होगा. So same way, instructions are also executed in the queue. When I give a program of move B, move B, C, add A, C, whenever this program is received, will a computer first execute store instruction? नहीं. What it will first execute? It will first execute move. वो होने के बाद दूसरा move. After that and after that store. How are they executing? They are executing one after the another. So where are they stored one after the another? They are stored in this instruction queue. Okay. तो क्यू में एक इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया जाएगा, वो एग्जीक्यूट होने के बाद जो भी क्यू में दूसरा ऑप्शन दूसरा इंस्ट्रक्शन है वो एग्जीक्यूट होगा. देन whichever is the third instruction that will be executed, whichever is a fourth instruction that will be executed. So what is the size of this instruction queue? It is only of 16 bytes. That means how much instruction I can store inside this instruction queue? Only instruction of 16 bytes. 16 bytes से ज्यादा एक भी instruction it will not allow me to store. But what will happen is, as I told, I have 4 instruction. तो जब भी move execute होगा तो उसके जगह पे जो खाली हुई, whatever space has been created, I can load the next instruction. So anytime, whenever this instruction queue is never empty, or even if it is empty, it is loaded with the next instruction automatically. Okay. So initially the size is of 16 bits, but as and when the programs or the instructions are executed, the space is automatically created for the next instructions to get loaded. Okay. Is this point understood? Yes or no? Okay. So we have 32-bit of address, 32-bit of data. We have instruction queue of 16 bits. What is that instruction queue? A place where all the instructions are stored and then they are executed one by one by the CPU. Okay. Address pipelining. What is pipelining? Pipeline means what? It keeps on flowing. There is no stop in that. Now we have water coming from the pipelines in our tap. तो कभी पानी जब बंद करोगे तभी बंद होता है, ऑटोमेटिक बंद होता है कि unless and until if the main switch is not off. No. So same thing is happening with the processor also. If I am executing something in pipeline, which means what? It will be continue in execution. There will be no stop in between. That means at a time I can execute more than one instruction also. How I can do that? By using a processing called as multi-programming. Multi-programming क्या होता है? Though by the user or by the system it is assumed that it is only one program that is executed. But what is happening if suppose I have a program move A, B, add A, B and store. अभी move A, B first instruction execute होगा. So when this instruction is executed, what I have to do is I have to go to the memory, take the data of A का data लेने के बाद वापस memory में जाओ, take the data of B, फिर CPU काम करेगा A plus B को add करने के लिए. But when I am going to memory and taking the value of A, when I am going to memory and taking the value of B, am I using the CPU? No. My CPU is idle at that time. When will my CPU get activated? Only when it will perform add A plus B. So whenever a instruction is going to the memory and taking a data, at that time the CPU is idle. So what will CPU do? It will immediately take a next instruction for execution. So what is this happening? When I take a next instruction for execution, it may be an instruction of a new program or it may be an instruction of a same program. So what is being assumed by the user कि मेरा program 1 भी execute हो रहा है, 2 भी execute हो रहा है. But is it happening like this? No. Why it is happening? Since my program 1 which was move A, B, वो A और B का data लाने गया है, तब तक CPU should not sit idle. Therefore my CPU has started executing the next instruction. But what is assumed to the user that program 1 भी execute हो रहा है, program 2 भी execute हो रहा है. But what is happening at the back end? CPU is executing only one program. So how is this structuring done? It is done by the concept called as pipelining. So pipeline में क्या हो रहा है? I have loaded all the instruction. CPU जब भी free है तभी it will take any of the instruction and it will start executing that instruction. Why? Because in the pipeline I have stored multiple instructions. Okay. So address pipelining, the address of the next memory location can be accessed. मतलब जो भी next instruction है उसका data can be accessed any time if that instruction is loaded. अगर instruction queue में है तो एड्रेस पाइपलाइनिंग होगा. अगर इंस्ट्रक्शन क्यू में इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं है तो एड्रेस पाइपलाइनिंग नहीं होगा. And what does that address pipelining means? The CPU is selecting any instruction and starting the execution, but whenever the CPU is free. Okay, is this bus interface unit understood to you? I have 32-bit of address, 32-bit of data, 16 bytes of instruction queue where all my instructions are loaded. After that, all the instructions can be executed simultaneously since I have address pipelining. And since I have a 32-bit of data bus, I can use 8-bit of data, 16-bit of data, or 32-bit of data in one shot. But if I want to use a 64-bit of data, I have to make use of the bus twice. First bus for sending first 32 bits and second bus for sending next 32 bits. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now next part of your 80386 is CPU. What is the CPU? Central Processing Unit. Now we know that the CPU has control unit, it has ALU and it has registers. Apart from this, let us see 80386 के CPU में क्या नया है. Okay. What does it has? CPU consists of IU and EU. What is IU? IU is called as instruction unit and EU is called as execution unit. I repeat. CPU of 80386 will have ALU, it will have control unit, it will have register. Along with it, it has something new called as IU, which is instruction unit, and it also has one more component new called as EU, which is execution unit. The IU, that is the instruction unit. Instruction unit, what does the name tells you? Instruction unit. तो क्या रहेगा उसके अंदर? Instructions. So the instruction unit retrieves the instructions from the instruction queue and it will decode them and store them in the decoded queue. अभी ये instruction queue किसके पास था? Instruction queue bus interface unit के पास था. तो bus interface unit के instruction queue में क्या क्या है? सारे instructions stored है. वो instructions अभी execute और decode कौन करेगा? They will be done by the instruction unit of your CPU. So when I will show you the diagram, it will get clear to you. But just remember for now, your instruction unit, the instruction queue of BUI is only storing the instruction. This instruction queue of BUI is connected to instruction unit of CPU. So इधर जब मैंने instruction load कर दिया है, अभी वो loaded instruction को who is going to execute? It will be executed by the instruction unit. And where is that instruction unit? It is a part of your CPU. Okay. Next is EU. What is EU? Yes.
So both the instruction units of BIU and CPU are pipelined or what?
Yes, pipelined.
Okay.
Entire 80386 instructions are pipelined. Okay. Now EU, the execution unit contains ALU. Now as I said, your CPU has ALU. तो 80386 का ALU किसके अंदर है? It is inside the execution unit. ठीक है. So when I say कि addition operation is performed, it is performed by whom? It is performed by ALU. But where is that ALU? Inside 80386, it is inside the execution unit. So who is going to perform all the arithmetic and logical operations of 80386? It will be performed by execution unit. But उसके अंदर कौन काम करेगा? It will be done by the ALU. Okay. Is this understood, the CPU part? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So your CPU has IU and execution unit. Instruction unit will take the instructions from bus interface unit and execute those instructions. And who is going to be helping IU to execute the instructions is the EU. Okay. Next is the MMU. What is this MMU? Memory Management Unit. अभी मेरा इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूशन हो गया है, इनपुट आउटपुट भी मिल गया है, बट मेमोरी कौन मैनेज करेगा? 80386 का मेमोरी विल बी मैनेज्ड बाय द मेमोरी मैनेजमेंट यूनिट. उसमें कौन है? देयर आर टू पार्ट्स, सेगमेंटेशन एंड पेजिंग. Now we will be doing this concept in very short because you have it in very short. More detailed will be done in your fourth semester when you have a subject called as operating system. Okay. What is this memory management unit? Have you ever, every one of us has seen notebooks, correct? Notebooks के अंदर क्या है? बहुत सारे pages है, correct? Can I go to any of the page? Yes. If I give you the page number, go to page number 125, you can directly go to 125. That means you can access any page, any data of any page, anytime. Why? Because every page is being given with the page number. Similarly, your memory management unit of 80386 is divided into two, segmentation and paging. Let us first understand paging so that segmentation becomes easy for you. अभी पेजिंग में क्या हो रहा है, योर डेटा इन द मेमोरी, कंप्यूटर में जो डेटा है वो किधर स्टोर है, या इधर इन द रैम और इन द रोम और इन द हार्ड डिस्क. ठीक है, अभी ये कैसे स्टोर है, दीज ऑल आर मेमोरी. यस, रैम इज अ मेमोरी, रोम इज अ मेमोरी, हार्ड डिस्क इज अ सेकेंडरी मेमोरी. सो जो भी डेटा इसमें स्टोर है वो कैसे स्टोर है, इट इज स्टोर्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ ब्लॉक्स. एवरी कंप्यूटर हैज रैम, रोम एंड हार्ड डिस्क. उसके अंदर डेटा कैसे स्टोर होता है, इट इज स्टोर्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ ब्लॉक्स. हर एक ब्लॉक को नंबर दिया जाता है, 000, 001. वो नंबर को हम क्या बोलते हैं, एड्रेस. तो अगर मैंने आपको एड्रेस दिया तो यू कैन गो टू दैट पर्टिकुलर मेमोरी ब्लॉक एड्रेस एंड टेक द डेटा. करेक्ट. सो पेजिंग में कैसा होता है, योर मेमोरी इज नॉट डिवाइडेड इनटू ब्लॉक्स, इट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू पेजेस. जैसे नोटबुक में पेजेस है, वैसे ही आपको पेजिंग यूनिट में भी पेजेस मिलेंगे. मेमोरी बुक इज ऑल्सो अ मेमोरी, that book is divided into pages. तो similarly paging unit में भी जो memory है वो divided है किसमें, pages में. So every page has a page number, like how the block has a address, here every page has a page number. So if I give you a page number, can you go and access the data on that page? Yes. अगर मैं बोलूँ open your computer organization TechMax and go to page number 221 and solve question number 21. Can you take the data of question number 21? Yes. How will you take? Because I have given you that page number. What is that page number? 221. So similarly, if a data in a computer is stored in the form of a pages, you can access those pages or you can access those memory with the help of a page number. That is what is called as paging unit. Okay. अभी जब भी पेजिंग यूनिट से डेटा लेना है तो मैं कैसे ले रही हूँ, आई एम टेकिंग इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ पेज नंबर. सो इफ दैट पेज नंबर हैज अ डेटा, योर डेटा विल बी गिवन टू यू. बट इफ दैट पेज नंबर डज नॉट हैव अ डेटा, इट विल नॉट गिव यू द डेटा. अगर बुक का लास्ट पेज है, दैट इज बुक का कवर है, बुक के कवर को पेज नंबर रहता है क्या, नहीं. सो इफ आई ट्राई टू टेल यू टू टेक द डेटा ऑल्सो, और इफ इवन इफ द डेटा इज नॉट देयर, और इफ द पेज इज एम्प्टी एंड स्टिल इफ इट हैज अ पेज नंबर, विल इट गिव यू एनी डेटा, नहीं. अगर पेज का लास्ट पेज है विच इज ब्लैंक एंड द पेज नंबर इज 176, इफ आई टेल यू कि पेज नंबर 176 पे जो डेटा है वो दो, बट इफ यू विल गो एंड चेक डज इट हैव अ डेटा, नो. इफ द डेटा इज नॉट देयर, इट विल नॉट रिट्राइव. सो सिमिलरली इन योर मेमोरी ऑल्सो, whenever a page number is given, first it will check whether the page number has a data or not. अगर data है तो data will be retrieved. If the data is not there, the data will not be retrieved. Okay, so memory management unit is divided into two parts. How is memory managed in 80386? By using a concept of paging and by using a concept of segmentation. So if it is paging, memory is divided into pages. Every page is given with a page number, and whenever you want to access a data, you first take the page number and then access the data. Similarly, if it is segmentation, your memory is divided into different segments. Every segment is given a segment number. If you want to access the data from a segment, give the segment number. If the data is there, the data will be given from those segment number. If the data is not there, the segment number will not give you any data. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, just a minute. Look at this diagram. Can you see this diagram on the right hand side? Internal structure of 80386 processor. Okay, so we have seen that we have how many units? 3 units of 80386. First unit was your bus interface unit. Okay, can you see it on the right hand side? You have central processing unit on the left hand side, and in the center you have memory management unit. Okay, now if you see bus interface unit, there are 2 buses, address bus and data bus. It also has a control bus. All the 3 buses together will make a system bus. Can you see data bus written as D0 to D31? That means it is 32. 0 से लेके 31 काउंट करोगे तो कितना बिट्स होता है? 32 32 बिट्स होते हैं। तो कितना है डेटा बस का साइज? 32 बिट्स, D0 से D31. Can you see address bus? It is written wrong over there. It should be A0 to A31. It is written as A2. You will write it as A0. Okay. So address bus भी कितना है? 32 bits from A0 to A31. Okay. Then can you see that 16 byte queue? What is that 16 byte queue? All the instructions of the program will be stored in that 16 byte queue. अभी ये 16 byte का queue instruction किसको देगा? It will be given to the decoded instruction queue. Can you see that arrow connected to the central processing unit? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So your central processing unit, as we studied, is divided into two, no? Instruction unit and execution unit. So ये जो है आपका instruction decoding and sequencing or decoded instruction queue, that two blocks are nothing but the instruction unit. So whatever instructions are there inside the instruction queue of your bus interface unit, all those instructions will be transferred to the central processing unit, which is the instruction unit part, through this control bus. Can you see that control bus which is connecting the two blocks, bus interface unit and CPU? Can you see that arrow?
Yes.
Yes.
जो भी इंस्ट्रक्शंस आपके इंस्ट्रक्शन क्यू में है वो इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट कौन करेगा? द इंस्ट्रक्शन यूनिट पार्ट ऑफ योर सेंट्रल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट. ओके, once they are loaded there inside the instruction unit, it will take the help of ALU. Can you see the ALU inside the CPU?
Yes.
Or yes? Can you see the arrow which is getting connected from decoded instruction queue to the register file? Yes.
Yes.
So who is going to give those instruction to the execution unit ALU for execution? It will be transmitted by this control bus. So did you understand the movement? From bus interface unit, instructions are stored there. They will be transferred to the instruction unit, and then instruction unit will give it to the ALU for execution. After that, where will be the data of that or where will be the result stored after it is executed by ALU? Can you see the arrow going to the memory management unit?
Yes.
So after the
Yes.
execution is done, where your results are going to store, your result will be stored in the memory. What is that memory? Your memory is either paging concept or segmentation concept. Is that clear? So instruction taken inside by the address bus and data bus given to the bus interface unit, stored in the instruction queue, transmitted to the central processing unit. After it is executed from central processing unit, it will be stored inside the memory management unit. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with this, we complete with the architecture of 80386. How many parts are there? 3 parts. We have done the first part, bus interface unit. We have done the second part, central processing unit. And we have also done the third part, memory management unit. Remember, this question is very important and it is always asked either for 8 marks with the diagram for your final exam. Okay, so see to it that you remember the diagram and you explain the diagram with all the with all the 3 components. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, just a minute. Okay. Let us go for the next part, that is register organization. Now, your CPU has ALU, control unit and register, correct? Now, what did I say? Register is used for storing some kind of data. And every processor will have different types of registers. So let us see what are the registers of your 80386. Now your register of 80386 perform 2 roles. Which are those 2 roles? First is there are some user visible register and there are some control and status register. Okay. What is the function of user visible register? These registers are used during ALP. What is ALP? Assembly Language Program. Do you write C programs? Yes. Do you write C++ programs? Yes. But whenever you write the programs way of any processor, we call it as assembly language programs. We do not call it as C or C++ program. We call it as assembly language programs. Why? Because we use instructions or we use an assembly language to write those programs. Therefore, they are called as assembly language program. Now, if it is a C program, what do we write? Hash include stdioh. Then we import some libraries. Uske baad we declare a variable A, we declare variable B. Then we take if I want to take the input from user, I write printf scanf. After that, I will write the command add A plus B, and then I will close. But if it is assembly language program, do I make use of int A is equal to 5, int B is equal to 6, add A plus B, printf A, scanf, %DA? Do I write all this? No. What do I write is move A comma B, move B comma C, add A plus B, store C. I use this. So what is this move, add, store, end? These are nothing but the assembly language programs. Okay. So the programs which are written for executing the instructions, those programs are called as assembly language program. And when we use some registers in those assembly language program, they are called as user visible register. Okay. Compiler makes use of these registers and generate an efficient code. How we have compilers for C and C++. Similarly, we have compilers for our microprocessors also. And the function of that compiler is to make use of these register and generate a code out of it. Okay. Then we have other two types of registers, which is control and status register. Now, what are these registers going to do? These registers are controlled by whom? They will be controlled by the CU, control unit. They control the operations which are going to perform between the CPU and between the registers. Okay. Therefore, they are named as control register to control and status register to see the status after the operation is done. ठीक है, तो अगर मैंने ऑपरेशन कर दिया एडिशन A plus B, तो अगर कैरी जनरेट हुआ तो वो कैरी का इंफॉर्मेशन कौन देगा? स्टेटस रजिस्टर. बट ये सब कंट्रोल कौन करेगा? कंट्रोल रजिस्टर. ठीक है. अगर मेरा आफ्टर इफ अ नंबर इज पॉजिटिव, who is going to tell me whether it is sign number is positive or if it is unsigned? It will be told by the status register. So if it is 0 means it is positive, if it is 1 means if it is negative. Yes. So who is going to tell me that? It will be told by the status register. So operation होने के बाद जो भी status है, who is going to tell? Status register. And who will be controlling the entire operation of the control unit? It will be controlled by the control register. Okay. So we have different types of user visible registers, different type of control registers, and different type of status registers. So we'll be seeing all those in detail for 80386. Okay. So let us see user visible registers. कौन से हैं? First is GPR. GPR stands for General Purpose Register. Then we have DR called as Data Register. Then we have AR called as Address Register. कौन से address register है? Segment Register, Index Register, Stack Pointer. Then we have CCR, that is Condition Code Register. Okay. So ये जो user visible registers है वो कौन से है? GPR General Purpose Register, DR Data Register, AR Address Register, CCR that is Condition Code Register. Address Register में भी कौन से है? Segment Register, Index Register and Stack Pointer. Every one of them has a unique feature than another. What are those unique features that we'll be seeing? Then we have control and status register. So we have seen कि user कौन से है. Now we will see control and status कौन से. PC stands for program counter. So you know what is the function of program counter. What it is going to do, it will point the next instruction to be executed. Next is IR. What is IR? Instruction register. What is the function of instruction register? It is going to tell which is the instruction to be executed. That is what is instruction register. That means which is the most recently instruction which is being fetched and which has to be executed is told by whom? Instruction register. Do you remember what is MAR? Memory address register, which will store only the address. Then memory data register, which will store only the data of that particular address. So these are what? These are the different control and status register. Is this clear up till here? Yes or no?
Yes. ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, which are the registers of 80386? User visible register and control and status register. Which are user visible? General purpose register, data register, address register, and control condition code register. Which are control and status register? Program counter, instruction register, MAR, that is memory address register, and MDR, which is memory data register. Okay. We will start the detail of each and every register tomorrow. Okay, so for now we will just stop by naming them. Is this clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we will start with the detailing of the register. See to it that you revise this chapter today itself, because if you do not remember anything tomorrow, it will be difficult for you to recollect. So see to it that you start revising this topic as soon as before attending tomorrow's lecture. Clear?
Ma'am, one request. Can you post this video as soon as possible? The recorded lecture of this.
I'll do it by 2, because I will be very busy from 11 to 2. I will continuously get calls because of that final year exams.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Fine.
Ma'am, can you
Two I
send
will
the
do.
PPT?
PPT I will send it right away. PPT
Okay,
will
ma'am.
not.
Thank you.
Videos I will upload by after 2.